I heard the sky was falling with classic car values. What we'll do is find out if that's true or not on today's episode. The first car I wanted to take a look at is a 1969 Dodge Daytona. It is one of 22 Hemi Daytona 4-speed models produced in 1969. It's also the most highly optioned Hemi Daytona known to exist, and one of 70 Hemi Daytonas produced in 1969. We've actually talked about these cars a lot here on the channel, and they only made 503, and I can think off the top of my head of about 5 or 6 that were actually crashed before 1975, so there's way less than that available out there right now. But first I want to take you guys all the way back to last year and show you what just a regular 1969 Dodge Daytona sells for. And what I mean by regular is this one of 70 Hemi Daytonas produced, so it's a Hemi car just like the green one that we talked about a minute ago, and this car also does have its original drivetrain. It does have the correct stampings on it, meaning it has the VINs in the right location, the ones in the front, the ones in the trunk. And of course it does have the original sheet metal. However, this car is an automatic transmission car, and it brought $880,000 last year at Mecum, Monterey. Now you might be wondering, that's way off from the $3 million that the car sold for this past weekend, and you are absolutely correct. But the car that sold this last weekend was a 4-speed car, and it's also the most highly optioned Dodge Daytona to exist. So when it comes to MOPAR, guys, there's really nothing better than a 1969 Dodge Daytona Charger, and to have the most highly optioned one would be the best one to have. This car available this year was basically the best car that you could possibly buy. It had all of the options on it. It says 1,800 miles on it. I don't know if that was 118. The odometer could have rolled over. They never specifically talk about that in any of the descriptions. But it is an A833 4-speed manual transmission car. It's got the 410 Super Track Pack in it. It's the original 426. Everything checks the box as far as this car goes. I'm personally not a green fan, a dark green fan. I think it looks really, really good on this car. But the bidders were in the room on Saturday when this car went off, and it went the whole way for $3 million. And personally, to say that you have the best, most highly optioned Hemi 4-speed Dodge Daytona in the country, I don't think that's a bad price. The next car I want to take a look at is a 1970 Plymouth Hemi Cuda convertible. Now, first we have to designate that this is a convertible, because if this was just a regular hardtop Cuda, the price would be significantly different. They only made 14 Hemi Cuda convertibles in 1970. Only 9 of those 14 cars had an automatic transmission. The car that we're taking a look at right now is one of those cars. It is produced in high impact FY1 Lemon Twist yellow, and it does have a black convertible top. This car did sell for $2.5 million. This car back in 2019 crossed the auction block and sold for an all-in price of $1.9 million at Mecum's Indy auction. However, the owner did put the car up for sale 3 years later in 2022 at their Kissimmee auction, and it actually did not sell for $2.1 million. However, the car was then presented for sale again this year in the beginning of January at their Kissimmee auction. It sold for $1.95 million earlier this year. So the person that bought the car for $1.95 million ended up reselling the car again last weekend, and the car brought $2.57 million. Now, that would mean that they made roughly somewhere between $600,000 or $500,000 just on this car alone. And as you can see, it has brought more money than it did earlier this year or in prior years. So that's 2 of the top selling cars at Mecum's auction. And the reason I chose their auction is because they're kind of more of like the middle of the road, the everyday kind of guys able to go there and buy a car. People are looking for like a 69 Camaro, or just like a regular Charger, or just like any kind of muscle car. They have them there from $20,000 all the way up to $2 million, like we just took a look at here. And their prices usually kind of reflect that, mostly what I see out here in the wild. We'll go ahead and show you the next car here on the list. We're going to talk about a 1967 L88 Corvette convertible. Now, there are coupes The coupe prices are different than the convertible prices, but I just kind of wanted to show you how some of these guys play the auction game. The car that we're going to talk about is the first production Corvette L88. They consider this one of the most historically significant L88s in existence. They only made 20 in 1967. This is the only tuxedo black 67 L88 convertible built. This was a production race car that won a few races back in the day, was a successful car. What kind of struck me about this car is I actually saw this car earlier this year sell along with a different car. Back in January in Kissimmee, this car was offered for sale as the first production L88 Corvette, along with the last production L88 Corvette. But someone paid $2.5 million for both of those cars about 6-7 months ago. However, this car was then brought back to Monterey because, you know, people in Monterey are there for Car Week. They're excited. They have a lot of money. And this car was then auctioned off and sold for $2.3 million all in. The person that sold this car basically got the last L88 Corvette. Not for free, but for an extremely discounted price. If we take a look back at what L88s are bringing, this car was also offered in 2020, and the bid went on at $1.9 million, and here we are 3 years later, or 4 years later, and it sells for $2.4 million just by itself. I think this next car is gonna surprise a lot of people because they don't really pay attention to this market. This is a 1930 Packard 734 Speedster. It does say boat tail runabout, which is basically just how the back end is shaped, and they've only known of 19 of these cars. This one sold for $1.3 million. The very next day, one of these actually sold again for $1.5 million. And I was able to find a comp on this car, not this one specifically, but a car that sold last year during Monterey, and it only sold for $417,000. I think that these cars, although not a whole lot of people know exactly what they are, when it comes down to the price of a collector car in total, one of 19, you know, is it rare? Absolutely. Is it just a beautiful car? Packards from the 1930s are probably some of the most beautiful cars in the world today. And if you've ever seen one in person, they just have a presence about them. The last car I want to take a look at is a 1971 Plymouth V-Code Cuda. And this means that it has a 446 pack. So it has a 440 engine and then 3 carburetors on top. And as far as Hemi Cudas go, this is the one right below that. Some would prefer almost the 440 Cuda more than the Hemi Cuda. The 440 would have gotten off the line a little bit quicker, but the Hemi probably would have beat it in the end, is kind of the way that I would look at it. For 1971, I think it is the best looking Cuda out of all of them, with that shark tooth grille and the gills down the side. This car sold for $390,000, and that's honestly just no surprise. If you've been following 71 Cudas for a while, we've seen them creep up to $250,000, and now we're at the $390,000 mark. The other colors do bring a little bit less, because when people think of Cudas, they think of purple. The most expensive convertible car ever sold was purple. That's just a trend that I think that we're going to see continue on. This car actually sold last 2 years ago, January 28th, 2023. It sold at Barrett-Jackson. It brought $275,000. A year and a half later, it sold for $390,000. What does all of this mean? Well, I would invest in classic cars, muscle cars specifically, that have history behind them, or they are the rarest basically of their kind, whether that's Ford, whether that's GM, whether that's Mopar. If they have provenance to them with provable basically history, those are kind of like the cars that you would want to shoot for. Your lower end stuff, I just feel over the time is probably gonna go away. I sold a 33 Ford for $37,000 a year ago, and those cars have come down even since then. Just the way life goes, the people that were alive back then, the people that remember those cars, the people that were able to touch those cars, they're no longer with us, and it's very difficult to make one of those cars kind of modern for somebody that has grown up with a phone in their hand. I believe that the muscle car market is here to stay. Personally believe that we're going to get to a point where all of the cars are kind of like golf carts running around on electric at some point. And all of the cars, I feel like between the late 80s and up until now, I feel like their electronics are going to disintegrate. I mean, if you crawled through junkyards like I have for the last 15 years, you see how these cars decompose. And they weren't made in 1995 to last 100 years. A Hemi Cuda, you can bore out the engine block and you can keep going. You can rebuild the gears in the gearbox. It runs on like 4 wires. There's really not a whole lot to go wrong. And that's kind of why I see these cars not losing value if they're significant cars in their field. I don't think anybody knows in the next 5 years what's going to happen. And if you guys kind of want to let me know what you think, or maybe you agree with me completely, let us know in the comment section below. Again, give us a like or a subscribe, and have a great day.